Hello, and welcome to whatever the heck I name this channel. I don't know, still at the point of making this video. After I'm done with this, I'm going to go sit and figure out how to upload videos to YouTube and do all that. But anyway, I just wanted to say hi. My name's Dakota. I am just painting and rambling. And if you want to stick around and ramble with me, you can. Disclaimer, I do not actually paint anything in this video. I plan to, and then I end up just painting white onto the canvas. Just so you know. Thank you. Okay. So, today, we are back prepping these same canvases that we were prepping last time. I will actually move on to painting one of these canvases. I'm thinking, might change my mind, fair warning, but I was thinking of doing like a Christmas light type painting. But for now, we will start with continuing to prep another layer of white gesso onto these canvases. And technically, there's more steps that I should do. I should spray the back of the canvases with water to help tighten the canvas itself. You can see it's a tad bit bouncy. Not really, but this one's pretty good. I might not. I might just be a little bit lazy. The other thing that should happen before I actually start painting on it is to sand it slightly. Get a nice, fine, smooth layer on the top, you know. Those are things I should do. Whether or not I actually do them is another question. Today, when talking about the wedding and event industry, I thought we would kind of go through a typical flow of a day from a caterer's perspective. So let's start at the beginning. Let's say I'm captain of an event. I am leading your team, or the team that will be serving you at your wedding, and I will be ensuring that everything goes according to plan. And then when it does not go according to plan, I will adjust on the fly and we will make it happen, because the show must go on. So, depending on, you know, where you're working, which catering company, the process can vary. But I'm just going to go through one process. Not everyone is the same. I promise you, we can get into that at a different point if you really want. This is maybe too much gesso, actually. It's fine. It's fine. So, as captain, I start my day by re-looking at my worksheet, which is my timeline, floor plan for the day, what we're serving, how many people we're serving, where we're serving it, notes, rental orders, you know, all of the information that I need to have on site should be physical in my hands. There may be times where I'm at a venue that has no cell service, you know, like it's nice to have a physical copy of everything. So I look through that, and then I go to the warehouse and I find my truck that is loaded with all of my items. And then At this location, the truck is already loaded with my equipment. It is loaded with my chafers. If it is a buffet setup, it is loaded with my greenery kits, with my everything I need, all my, gloves, paper towels, hand sanitizer, like all of those things as well. There's a lot on the truck. So I double count the truck. I know what needs to be on the truck because I have a list of it in my packet. Double count the truck, and then I go and get any food that I need to bring that the chefs aren't bringing. And then I leave for the event. It usually takes about an hour at the warehouse. Arrive to the event. The rest of the event staff is already there. I may have one other person with me, maybe a co-captain. And we arrive to the event. So we see all of our servers, all of our bartenders, the rest of our crew. And we firstly unload the truck into wherever our prep space is going to be. And then after that, I will usually get a lay of the land, or sometimes before unloading the truck, or while they're unloading the truck, I'll get a lay of the land. And then I will start. We need to get tables down if tables are not already down, and chairs around if chairs do not need to be set at ceremony, or if they do and then are moving to the reception after, we'll set up ceremony chairs first. There's different qualifications like that may lead you to do things a certain way a certain day, but in general, there are patterns. So we just look for the patterns. Tables, chairs, then linens. We also tend to do these as quickly as possible for florists, as I've already mentioned at one point. And then we will have a team start setting up the place settings. We will have somebody folding napkins. We will have someone setting the knives. We will have someone setting the plates. We'll have someone flipping glasses in the crates. And what I mean by that is usually your water glasses are set in crates facing down, and we will often flip over all of those glasses inside of the crate and then ice them inside of the crate to make it easy so they're all in one spot. You just take a large scoop of ice and you kind of like shake it over into the cups and make sure that they're all full. And then we will pause on those cups for now because we don't want to water them as soon as we get there. I often get on site about 2 hours before the event starts. When the event starts, when the earliest guests start showing up, which is usually right before the ceremony. The other parts of setup might include a pre-beverage station. The bar team is working on setting up their bar so that it will be ready by the start of cocktail hour. There's definitely other things that happen, like we set up a water station so that people have water to drink. There's so much happening. You're pretty non-stop for those 2 hours. If you're fast, if you're furious, you will be able to get that set up in maybe an hour and a half and have a little bit of downtime. Usually you get it done by like an hour and 45. Usually you're at least 15 minutes, you're set 15 minutes before guests are set to arrive. Once the guests arrive, the party starts. So the guests start arriving, they might get their pre-ceremony drinks, it might be just water, it might be hot apple cider, it might be cold apple cider, it might be lemonade, it might be iced tea. Those are the common ones. And then they sit down, and then they have the ceremony. The bride walks down to her groom, or the groom grooms and brides. There's lots of variations for how you can have your wedding and walk down the aisle. This is coffee. I do apologize for the ums. I'm working on it. And then the catering staff is listening closely for that end of ceremony. They're listening for the cheers that come when the officiant says you are now pronounced a happy couple. Because as soon as that happens, we have people in place. The chefs have already arrived by this point. Usually they arrive an hour after the first team has arrived because they don't need to be there. They don't need to be there that early. They often get to the warehouse way earlier, or the kitchen way earlier in the morning, multiple hours before I got to the warehouse, multiple hours before I woke up, because they're prepping all the food. And we need to keep it at food safe temperatures for certain amounts of time. And so it makes more sense for them coming closer to the time that the food is actually going to be served. But so they've arrived and they have started plattering up your past appetizers, if that is something that you had. Or if you had stationary appetizers, then they have set that all up and our servers had brought that out. And so as soon as the ceremony ends, we will come out with past appetizers or stationary apps. The bartender's bar will be open. We may also be passing some trays of drinks in order to achieve this and to lessen the lines at the bars. You standardly have 3 past apps, although that can vary, and there is no right answer. After about an hour, considering it is called cocktail hour, these can run longer or shorter, and oftentimes this is kind of where you can adjust the timeline. If you're running late, say the ceremony ran 15 minutes over schedule, you can shorten the cocktail hour by 15 minutes, and that will not be the most noticeable thing. 45-minute cocktail hour is still plenty of time. During cocktail hour, I have one team passing apps, passing drinks, taking care of the bar, checking on the bar. You'll have another team finishing the finishing touches in the reception room. This is when you start to put water into your goblets and you put them on the tables. This is when, if you have a preset salad and rolls on the table, this is when they get rolled out. This is when you start lighting candles on the table. This is when a lot of finishing touches happen, and then the photographers come in and take their final photos. And then once the hour is up, we allow all the guests into the room, and they are able to find their seats, enjoy their salad, or if it's a past salad, we will bring it out like we do dinner, plated dinners, and we will go around the table and serve you your salad. Hello. This is my introduction because we bring out salads. They eat the salads. We clear the salads, often asking, "Hello, would you like to keep your dinner knife?" Because occasionally they only have one knife, and they will set that on their salad plate when we go to clear it. But a lot of times, people do end up wanting their knife for dinner in order to cut their meat, and we simply do not have enough silverware to replace everybody's knife if everybody were to hand us their knife and then ask for another one. Because these are oftentimes rental items. We are only sent the amount that was rented by the couple or the planner, and that's a finite amount with little overage. You should probably always add an extra 10 place settings worth of silverware, cups, and plates, just in case one breaks, one gets dirty, a fork gets dropped on the floor and somebody needs a new one, a glass is really foggy for some reason, like it just gives you a little bit of a buffer. So if you have 250 people, spring for at least 260 worth of items. Also, take all of my advice with a grain of salt. Everyone's different. Everyone has different methods. There is no wrong way to have your wedding. Please and thank you. These are just trends that I see, things that I have seen often. Like, the wedding industry could completely change and we could have completely different traditions and it would still just be as valid. Okay? In fact, different cultures have different traditions. As soon as we clear the salads, you will always have 1 or 2 people watering during this time as well to make sure everyone's glasses are full. You may also have a wine service happening at this time as people sit down, which is usually a person or 2 or 4, depending on how many people, how many bartenders you have, how many servers you have, how many people you have to allocate for this, and how fast do you want it to happen. A person will walk around with a bottle of red and a bottle of white. They will circle the table or go down the table if it's a long table and offer each guest if they would like any wine, if they would like a white or a red. This only happens if the couple and planner, you don't need to have a planner, by the way. I just want to make that clear. Again, I see that a lot. Doesn't mean it has to happen. Doesn't mean that. What was I saying? That this only happens if they have rented enough wine glasses to have preset at the tables, as well as still have plenty of wine glasses at the bar. So if you have 250 guests, I realize 250 is a very large number for a wedding, and that is not often the standard. I probably should be using 150 as the standard. Okay, so let's say you have 150 guests. You need 150 wine glasses for pre-setting. Also, let's still get a 10 overage just to be safe. So let's get 160 for that. And you need at least 300 for the bar. You want at least 2 wine glasses for every person, right? Again, like, people have different numbers, different preferences for how much they like to have behind the bar. I prefer to have a lot of glasses behind the bar. That way people can exchange it. If they leave a wine glass somewhere else, they can get another one. And no, not every person is going to drink 2 glasses of wine. Some people will just drink beer. Some people will just drink liquor. That's why you have other glasses for that. But some people may drink 4 glasses of wine. So you just want to be prepared. That's really my motto, is how can you plan and prepare enough for your wedding to cover all casualties and complications that arise through the day. After wine service happens and while we're clearing and watering, as soon as that is done, we will start rolling out dinner service. If it's a plated dinner. If it's a buffet, we will go and we will lift the lids off the buffet and we will start serving that out or letting people serve themselves depending on what you chose. And then we roll that out. We will often time ourselves if we remember it in order to see how fast we can serve 150 people. Last night, we served 110 people in 15 minutes flat. It was 15:02 if anyone wants the particulars. And that's a good time. That's a good time. So we serve that out in 15 minutes and then we immediately go back out to clear as much as we can before speeches start because we don't want to be in the room while speeches are happening. We don't want to be in people's sight lines. We don't want to be clinking plates together while people are trying to talk, so we just will often do as much as we can and then we will sit in the back quietly. We will sit in the back quietly and wait for the speeches to finish. This can also be a time where the staff eats. And I don't want one person ever to be mad about people who are working for 12 hours to make your wedding happen. Do not get mad about them for taking half an hour to eat. I usually get like 15 minutes, 5 minutes. There have been events where I'm not able to eat for 14 hours. So and if you're doing this regularly, if you're doing 12, 8, 14, 16-hour shifts 4 to 6 days a week, come on, show some grace. I don't know if people get pissed off about staff eating, but they shouldn't. In my opinion, this is all in my opinion, I just want you to know that. Don't come after me. I mean, you can. I don't care. I do care a lot, but, it's your life. You can do what you want. If that is how you feel, that's how you feel. Okay. After the speeches are done, we will go back to clearing the tables. We will check on the bar and see how they're doing. We will replace their trash if we can, if it needs to be done. This is also something the bartenders should be keeping an eye on, but we always like to help our bartenders. It makes their lives easier, it makes our lives easier, and at the end of the day, we are all a team. Just remember that. I know it's hard sometimes. I know it's really hard. Once the speeches are done, we start clearing more. The dance floor opens, and this is where I find the last semblances of my energy in order to make it through this 12-hour shift. Not every shift is 12 hours, but it's a good standard. I love dancing to the wedding songs. Last night, the Cupid Shuffle and Cotton Eye Joe played. And so then I was in the back dancing to it, doing the Cupid Shuffle. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left. Now kick, now kick, now come baby kick. Okay. Now kick, okay. The other favorite song I have that plays at weddings is Apple Bottom Jeans. I'm not gonna lie. You need songs that you can just dance to and keeps your energy going, because at that point in the night your legs are starting to give out, you had a little bit of a break, you kind of just want to be done, you're so tired, you want the event to be over, but it might still have 4 hours. At least 3 hours. Plus the hour afterwards when you have to clean up. Because we set up all those tables and chairs, and so we need to break them down. And hopefully not have to set up for another wedding after that. The rest of the night is really just clearing. It's clearing all the glasses that people have drinking from and continue to drink from. We don't take the glasses that they're drinking from actively. We really try. You know, we have this rule. We have rules, guidelines in place to help with this. How to ensure your fantastic and amazing, I love them to death servers. How to get them to not pick up glasses that people are actively drinking from. You gotta, if the glass is completely empty, it's good for the taking. If it has 1 drop of red wine on the little bottom, you can take it. If it has more than a drop of red wine or white wine, do not take it. Somebody might still be finishing. If it has been sitting there for 20 to 30 minutes, it may be safe to take. If it is a glass that had ice in it, a rocks glass that had an old-fashioned in it, if it's empty and there's just ice in there, no other liquid, it's good for the taking. If there is still some liquid in it and the ice is not melted, do not take it. They may come back to it. This kind of is iffy with the 30-minute rule. So like if you've seen a glass sitting there with nobody by it for 30 minutes, it may be good for taking. But in general, don't take glasses that still have ice in them. Not until the last half an hour of that event. You're there till the end. What's the hurry? Yes, you can help things go along quickly at the end of the night by doing as much as you can while the event's happening, of course. So there is, method to the madness. And then oftentimes we will start clearing the water goblets an hour before the event ends. So say your event ends at 11 o'clock, we will not start clearing those water goblets until 10 o'clock. And when we do, we will make sure that there's a water station available and plastic cups so that people always have access to water. That's not something we're trying to take away. And then the event ends. They'll do a sparkler exit or some other type of exit, maybe no exit. The couple might have a final dance, which it does help when we know that in advance so that we don't start blowing out the candles too early. If you want the candles in your pictures for that final dance, helps us so that we just are aware and aren't in your way while you're having your final moments. If we're not aware, that's okay. We adapt. We're flexible. The lights go on, everybody leaves. We will start gathering the candles and florals to one table for the florist or planner to take care of. Please and thank you. And then it's not the planner's responsibility, but a lot of times the florist does not come back at the end of the night. Sometimes they do. I love it when they do. Please, please. But oftentimes they don't. And it either falls on the catering team, on the planning team, or on the venue team in order to take care of these and handle them. So it's always nice when there's a plan. Sometimes the plan is for the florist not to come back. That's fine. I work with it. I've been a florist. I've been a cake decorator. I've been a lot of things at weddings that I wasn't intending to be. We pull the linens, we stack the chairs, we stack all the rentals in one spot so that the rental company can find them. We arrived on site and rentals were already there. We bring some stuff, but we also have rented some stuff. And those rental items are usually already on site. There have been occasions where I've had linens that were rented on my truck. That happens. Just please don't give me 250 people's worth of plates and silverware to move multiple times. I will. I have. Just, it's not my preference. I don't think it'd be anybody's preference. I'm sure you guys are probably bored with me just painting white on white, but it's something that needs to happen. It is part of the artistic process. This is not a channel of shortcuts. This is just a channel for me and my thoughts, honestly, while I paint. Because both of those things need to happen. I need to learn how to articulate my thoughts and myself. And I also just need to paint more. So, we will sweep, we will mop, we will leave the space cleaner than we found it. And we are usually out of the venue an hour after the guests leave the venue. That is always the goal. There are some venues where it takes an hour and a half to 2 hours to get out of there. You know, it just happens sometimes. But if you have a good team, if everybody is trying their best to get out of there, which everybody is trying their best to get out of there because everyone wants to go home at this point. You know, if your event ended at 11, we're not getting out till 12 a.m. I usually try to thank everybody for their hard work that day. Occasionally, I'm so peopled out that I say, thank you, please leave, and get out of my face. I try to do it really nicely. I try. I think I accomplished that. I don't know. I'm just an introvert who is an oldest child and is good at leading people. It's a problem. And when our teams are like 14 to 16, even if it's 8 people, even if it's 6 people, even if it's 4 people, that's a lot of people to talk to for 12 hours. I do it. I do. I enjoy it. I do genuinely enjoy this job. It just does take a lot out of me. And I'm starting to have to acknowledge that more in order to survive this cruel, cruel world. And that is the event day. That is how a typical event flows from the caterer's perspective. And there are so many perspectives that happen on this day. There's, of course, the couple's perspective. One could argue it is the most perspective of the day, the most important. One could argue that the couple's perspective is the most important perspective of the day. But I would argue that everyone's perspective of the day is equally important, just from different views, different perspectives. Example, the guests could also arguably be the most important perspective because they're the ones seeing everything that the couple decided to have at their wedding. The most important perspective could be the wedding planners because she has seen so many weddings and she knows what to look for and what should be there and what shouldn't be there. You know, like mine is just one experience, one perspective in a giant event industry complex where there are florists, where there are the people who bring us the rentals. They're the ones moving 200. Honestly, I don't know for sure, but I'm sure they're moving like 1,000 pieces a day, if not more. Has to be more. What am I talking about? 3 boxes of flatware would be 750 pieces of flatware. They're moving multiple thousands worth of items, both in money and in quantity, and they are bringing them to the venues at the correct times in the correct quantities. There's the florists who spend all that time picking the flowers and arranging them. I'm actually not entirely sure what all goes into the florist day. I don't know when they start prepping for their wedding. For example, like the catering company, one of them that I work for starts prepping for weddings about 2 weeks in advance of that wedding. Obviously, conversations have been happening for over a year at times, but we won't start like ordering or setting that final head count until like 10 days, 2 weeks before your date. In case there are any adjustments, any cancellations, like we kind of keep that flexible for you. We try to. Also, I do not speak for any catering company. I do not speak for anyone except for myself, my dumbass self. This is a disclaimer. Don't come at me. I think I want to sand this one. Ooh, I don't know how that noise is. So, I sanded this canvas, and I'm really sad to say it's a lot smoother. It's not sad. I'm saying it's sad. I'm saying it's sad because this is the first time I've actually sanded. I've been meaning to. I just don't really get around to it. It's so smooth. It's so nice. Okay. I can still see, like, I want another coat on here. I know I just sanded, but this was the final one I had that needed another coat, but I wanted to actually just paint, so I was going to leave it in one coat, but I don't think I can. It needs another coat. I need another coat. I really need to get a smock. It's probably what I need. I just hate aprons, actually. I hate them. So really what I need, have you guys seen that guy who makes jackets out of artist drop cloths? So I'm hoping when one of these becomes more painted, I can turn that into a jacket, because that's really what I need, is a jacket that I can button up. Okay, well, what am I going to talk about now? I probably could stop and start a new video, honestly, because I think I have a lot of time on this one. Okay, so testing 1, 2, 3. This is just your friendly editing Dakota saying thank you for watching, and if you want to like, subscribe, or follow, you know what to do. I don't need to tell you.